Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this channel is all about my journey throughout CRNA school. So today's video is going to be my current distractions. If you guys are interested, let's get into the nitty-gritty. So next week I'm going to be doing my semester 3 week 12 update, so look out for that coming up. But this week I kind of wanted to get into detail what's kind of been distracting me from what I need to be doing. I don't know if it's like that I don't want to be in school anymore, that I didn't have a break from semester 2 to semester 3, but a lot more things have been causing me to be distracted. Now, it hasn't really reflected in my grades. In fact, my grades are better. I'm hoping that it's just because of the fact that I know more information and I'm able to do better on the exams. I don't know, but I'm actually doing better than ever. I'm feeling less stressed than ever. I have only one more paper due next week, and I feel like I can knock that out in a couple of days, so I'm not even really worried about that. And I have a patho exam coming up in week 12, which I've been doing so well. I don't mean to brag, but I literally only need 2 A's in order to keep an A in the class, which is amazing. So I'm really kind of taking a step back, being a little better on myself. But anyways, you're here for the distractions, right? So I posted a video not too long ago about my greenhouse cabinets that I was building for my plants. It was really just because my cat kept knocking them off of the windowsill and getting water everywhere. And obviously the plants were like not thriving because of this. And now I'm seeing the effects of, I guess, perfect conditions, ideal conditions for the plants, and I'm seeing how well they're doing. It's almost like they're outgrowing the cabinet faster than I'm putting plants in. But I decided to build a new set of greenhouses, and I'll insert some clips in this video somewhere. But pretty much what I did in my first set of greenhouse cabinets, I got 2 cabinets just to fit right outside of this piece of furniture that I have in my living room. So the plan was just to keep it, I guess, the purpose of the greenhouses in the living room was to obviously house my plants in a way that looked somewhat presentable in a house. So I'll insert a clip of my house with the greenhouses in the living room. They're quite small because at the time my plants were quite small. So then I started to realize the plants didn't fit, so I was putting them outside, and then they were getting really burned by the sun. I had them in an area where I thought they were shaded enough because they were underneath the awning right before I walk in my house, but the sun that comes in the afternoon was just so powerful, it was burning all of the leaves. So I decided that in my guest room I was gonna get bigger cabinets that went underneath the TV, kind of like an entertainment center, but just like plants. So I spent like 2 weekends working on them. It wasn't an as intensive a build because I feel like I had all the supplies already, so it was just a matter of building the cabinet and putting the plants in. But then I kind of felt like it wasn't where I wanted it to be. You know, it was just like plants and cabinet. So I got a wallpaper for the back, and I wanted it to be like a subtle wallpaper so the plants weren't drowning out. Kind of like, compared to my first cabinet, I felt like the wallpaper was a little busy compared to the plants, so it was just like busy on busy. So this one, it was like, I wanted to keep it neutral but still keep it planty, so I'll insert the clips of the wallpaper. It's just a subtle, like a neutral Monstera print, and I love it. It's absolutely beautiful. It was a little difficult to put on because it kept getting air bubbles, and the actual sheet of wallpaper didn't fit the full extent of the back, so I had to like find the seam, you know, and make sure that it was perfect. And I mean, it was just an extra task, but I really love the way that it came out. And I have humidifiers and fans in there. I'm actually gonna work a little bit on some cable management, but other than that, it's pretty much done, and I'm really happy with it. I can already see the effects of the cabinets on my plants. They're just doing so much better. And yeah, so my main distraction right now is plants. I don't know if you can tell. I have had a collection of orchids for a while. I had my fiance build an orchid wall on the entryway to the house, and I have, let me see, 14 hanging orchids outside, and then I have a few others around the house, but pretty much on the wall it's 14 orchids, and they're pretty much small seedlings and orchids I've collected over the years. It's like some really old ones actually that I've had for a while, so it's really sentimental to me, and I love looking at them when I walk into the house. I do, for me, plants, at least house plants, have been something new that have been my distraction to me, but orchids have always been my thing. I just haven't had a way to store them. I used to just tie them onto a tree and just like set it and forget it. But then they were dealing with like a lot of pests. I was dealing with a lot of like leaf loss, and like they looked really sad. So I took them off the tree and I potted them up into plants. I've been following Miss Orchid Girl on YouTube. She is the orchid guru. So then for that, I follow her. And then for my house plants, I have a lot of people that I follow. But my favorites are Hakuna LaPlanta, WildFern, Good Growing, The Jungle Haven, Plants by Melissa. I can go on. Literally, I've been watching YouTube and their plants, their plant chores, how they take care of their plants for hours. Like I'm telling you, when I tell you that it's one of my main distractions, it's one of my main distractions. So yeah, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos. I've learned a lot about plants. It's sad that I feel like I've learned a lot more about plants than I have about anesthesia, but it is what it is. I'm really just enjoying myself in my time off with that. So that's pretty much the first distraction, plants. The second distraction, I feel like I've actually just recently gotten into this, and it's been like life-changing to me. So I told you guys before that my school is a commute, so I have to actually stay in a in-between place during the week. So it takes me about 2 hours to get to school from my house directly. So I figured instead of just listening to music, and I don't think I could listen to professors lecturing on that boring drive. It's not feasible. Dobby, can you please stop tilting the thing? Thanks. Can you come here? So yeah, I can't really listen to the professor's lecture on the drive because I'll literally fall asleep on the road. Although it would be beneficial, I feel like I learn better when I see the images, and I'm not gonna distract myself while driving looking at PowerPoints. So I figured best thing I could do was listen to audiobooks. So I started this about a month ago, and I've already listened to 4 audiobooks, and I'm working on my 5th. So I'll include pictures of the book covers that I've read, but I highly recommend them. I've been really into Colleen Hoover lately. She's been the latest craze, I feel like, but I've read 3... Oh my gosh! I've read 5 audiobooks, and I'm working on my 6th. So I've read 3 books from Colleen Hoover, and I read 2 books from... is it Sarah Redmond? Well, it was the reason why they created the show Younger. It was based off of her book. So I read her book, and then she came out with a sequel which was called Older, and I just really wanted to read that. I don't know why. I feel like I wanted to read Older before I wanted to read Younger, but I felt like I needed Younger before Older. You know what I'm saying? It's like a sequence. So yeah, so I've read 5 audiobooks. I read from Colleen Hoover, I read It Ends With Us, and then the sequel that just came out, It Starts With Us, and then I read recently Verity, which was amazing. Out of the 3 books that I've read from her collections, is the best one I've read so far. Right now I'm reading one from, is it Michelle Miller? Oops, I forgot. But anyway, it's called The Song of Achilles. It was recommended based off of a video I watched from WildFern. She apparently like perished at the end of the movie, and I was like, wow. The book, she said it was so good. She was like, it took her a while to recover. So I was like, what do you mean? Like, what's this book about? So then when I went to go look up the book, apparently it was like viral on TikTok. And then I started reading it, and I'm like, well, listening to it in the road, and I'm like, I don't quite understand it, because I felt like it was just a lot of name dropping and like stuff to deal with like Greek mythology and the Iliad, the book that we had to read like in high school back in the day. And I was like, oh man, this sounds familiar, but I need to like get the backstory. Like I need to see the lineage. So then I actually looked up on YouTube this kid, I forgot his name, Zachary May or something like that. He posted videos on the synopsis of the books of the Iliad. And once I heard a few of the stories, I was like, okay, I think I get it. I think I understand now like where this book takes place. So I went back to the book and it makes a lot more sense now. So it's actually so far so good. I've only listened to about 2 hours worth of the book, because that's how long it takes to drive. So once I go back home, I'll read another 2 hours, and then in between, it's about 45 minutes to school. So, you know, like I feel like there's a lot of time that I get to listen to the audiobook. So I'm listening to about a book a week. So that's pretty cool. And I feel like it's not wasting my time because I'm just driving, you know, and I wasn't really doing anything with that time anyway. So I don't know if it's truly a distraction. Well, no, it's definitely a distraction, because sometimes when the book is so good, you know, like it's getting to a really good part, and I'm like pulling into my house, I'll either stay there for like the end of the chapter, you know, like let's say it's like got 7 minutes left in the chapter, I'll just stay and listen in the car, or I'll continue listening when I get home, because sometimes I don't like to get straight into schoolwork right away. So then I'll listen to the audiobook for a couple more hours, and it's a little past what I should be doing. But oh my God, sometimes these books are really good. These books are really good. And I never really thought I'd be into audiobooks, but because of the nature of it, I really do enjoy it. Like I prefer like actual turning of pages. I actually only read ebooks for the Harry Potter series, but otherwise I just like to actually physically have the books. I have a little bookshelf in the back there. You can't really see it, but I have a bunch of books over there. And I love reading. I feel like guilty about reading because it's a leisure read when I'm supposed to be actually like scholarly reading. And I don't know, now it doesn't feel so like it doesn't really infuse that much guilt, because I can't really utilize that time anyways, so it's not really time wasted, and it's technically not a distraction. Another one I have, this one I felt like I maybe was just like needing to have some sort of crafty outlet. I had initially started working on a quilt. I want to say that was in semester 2, but I was having some issues with the quilt, and it was causing a little more stress than I would have liked. So what I did was I packed it up in a bag, I put it back away, and I said, when I have the time and I don't have as much stress, I will get back to this quilt. But then what I did was I ordered from this website, Annie's Kit Clubs. So they send you a kit every 2 to 4 weeks. I set it to send me kits every 4 weeks, and you can pick the pattern. It's either you can really do any type of kit, but in the actual knitting club that they have a bunch of designs, and this one that I picked is so nice. Like I'm obsessed with it. I'll insert pictures somewhere, and I'm gonna bring the blanket out now to show you what I'm working on. But this blanket is set up in stripes. Honestly, I thought they were stripes that you knit and then put aside, and then at the end you sew them all together. So I felt like that was gonna be less of a burden, I guess, because it's just little stripes at a time, but it's actually a continuation of each stripe, and that's really not that bad either, because if you break it up into how they do it, like they do it for you, it's not so cumbersome. And I feel like at the end of it, like if you stick with the plan, you'll have a really nice blanket in a year, because it's 30 stripes, and they send you 3 stripes at a time. So they send you an instruction booklet and video instructions, which I love, because I'm pretty versed in knitting, and I've actually learned a lot of what I do for it on YouTube. Like if it's like a certain stitch that I don't know that comes up in a pattern, I'll just look up, you know, yarn over, knit to, whatever, and then I'll actually watch it and okay, I get it. So then I'll go back to my pattern. But with this one, it's really nice because it's the same pattern, and it's in the same colors. You know, it's nice to follow along with the video instructions. So I highly recommend, if you're looking for a hobby or something to do, to look into Annie's Kit Clubs online. They're really interesting stuff that they have there. They have for crochet, they have for knitting, they have a lot of other things as well. But I really like this particular knit pattern that I'm working on, so I'll bring it out now and I'll show it to you. So I'm actually a little bit behind in this knit project, and that's okay. The time frame that I decided that I would work on this was right before I'd go to bed, just to wind down, because sometimes, like, after I decided to close the books on studying, I would just lay in bed and watch YouTube videos, or just listen to music, or just scroll on social media. And I was like, man, I've literally spent a half hour scrolling through social media. I could have easily done something productive. So I said I would give myself only a half hour before bed. every night, and I haven't really been all that consistent with it, so that's why I'm a little bit behind. But I'm not trying to hold myself accountable for a small little project that I'm doing on the side. So yeah, I really don't feel like this is consuming too much of my time. It's been just something that I like to do on the side, and it gives me that creative outlet that I feel like I'm lacking because I can't do things that I like because I'm so consumed with other things in school that it just, sometimes I get down on myself, like I'm not being my true self because I like to do so many different things, so many different hobbies. Like my mom tells me that it's like a hobby of the week, you know? And it's just because that's what I like to do. I like to try different things, and I like to always keep myself busy. I feel like downtime is like the enemy for me. But anyway, let me show you what I have. Okay. All right, so it's a little hard to show you, but this is the start of the pattern down here, and then this is the next stripe. So this first kit came with these 3 colors and the instructions for it. I don't know if I can show it to you, it's kind of difficult. And then the next kit was these 3 colors and the instructions for it. And then the next kit, I'm actually working on the 4th kit. This was the 3rd kit, this pattern right here, the dark blue, this like gingham color, and these like crisscross one. And I'm working on the 10th stripe now, and it's from the 4th kit. I actually have the 5th kit already, so I'm a little behind, but I'm, like I said, I'm not trying to get down on myself for just like a small project, a small hobby project, you know? It's just something I'm doing on the side. I wouldn't really consider it a distraction. These are all my loopholes, but I really wouldn't consider it a distraction because in the time that I go and I lay down in bed, it's really not time that I'm actually utilizing to study. So yeah, that's my knit project. I wish that one of my distractions was working out so I can show you that my little buff body here, but really that's not a thing. I feel like I've lost interest in working out and whatnot. Like every now and then my buddies and I will get together and we'll play volleyball, and that's to me like a nice cardio session, but I really haven't been working out as much as I should have, or as much as I had planned to in this time that I've been in school. But I'm also trying to be better about not being so hard on myself, so there's that. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you like my current distractions. If not, I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.